Welcome viewers to this particular lecture on microbial toxin. In this particular lecture, we shall be considering different microbial toxin, the nature of toxin. We will also consider the different sources of toxin and their toxic implications. Now, toxin can be protein, it can be lipid, it can be carbohydrate, or sometimes it can be lipoprotein or glycolipid, or sometimes it can be alkaloid, which is entering into a particular host cell and causing destruction of the host cell. Toxins can be produced from different organisms. It can be produced from bacteria, archibacteria, cyanobacteria. It can also be produced from algae, fungi, protozoa. Toxin can also be toxic to different important organ of human beings and other animals. It can be toxic to liver. If it is toxic to liver, it is called hepatotoxic. If it is toxic to kidney, it is called nephrotoxic. But in most cases, it can be toxic to neural transmission, which is neurotoxin. And because it is protein in many cases, it will enter into the host body and it will cause severe immunogenic or allergic reaction. Toxin can be classified on the basis of its production. As you can see in this particular slide, toxin can be exotoxin or it can be endotoxin. In case of exotoxin, the bacteria is generating the toxin, which is received by specific receptor in the host cell, and then it will enter into the host cell, resulting in the death of the host cell. In the same way, when it is endotoxin, the bacteria is entering the host cell and the toxin is produced inside the host cell, and thereby ultimately the cell is dying because of the toxin released inside the cell. So the endotoxins are more effective than exotoxins. Now coming to the different toxin molecules, to start with, we have the archibacterial toxin or archaeal toxin. Now, archaeal toxin primarily is produced from thermoplasma, which is actually a protein factor, and it can actually impart toxicity along with other toxin. It will actually mix with other bacterial toxin like diphtherial toxin and impart toxicity. In most of the cases, you can see here the toxin molecule may have different components, and these components as a whole will enter the host cell in the form of a vacuole. And inside this vacuole or endosome, the toxin is released inside the cell, and the vehicle which has brought in the toxin actually is given out. So taking the clue from here, we can say that archibacterial toxin can very well act as a particular vehicle for different other bacterial toxin. So here we can say that the toxicity of bacterial toxin can increase in presence of archibacterial toxin, though only archibacterial toxin may not be that much toxic to the host cell. Now, in many cases, archibacterial toxin can cause ribosylation, and this ribosylation you can see here is actually inhibiting the ADP molecule, as a result of which the protein synthesis is inhibited. So ribosylation is a very important action which is brought about by the bacterial toxin along with archibacterial toxin. The next important group of organisms that produce toxin is bacteria. Different bacteria may be generating toxin, which can come from the cell membrane itself, or it can come from the cell wall, very commonly from the LPS layer outside the bacterial cell, and this particular toxin will enter into the cell and will actually play havoc. As you can see in this particular slide, this is a cholera toxin which is produced from Vibrio cholerae. This cholera toxin is having AB subunit and it is being received in specific receptor, and ultimately it will be resulting in the activation of the cyclic AMP for a longer period, and thereby they will be allowing the release of water and sodium ion from the endothelial cells of the intestine. So what happens is this particular toxic implication will result in CFTR, which will release the chloride ion, and at the same time the opposite direction of the water pump will release the water molecule. So water retention in the host body will be released, and as a result of which the person may die of dehydration. So this is the havoc of cholera toxin, which is a typical bacterial toxin. Different other groups, the most important group is actually the cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria is actually blue-green algae, but cyanobacteria sometimes can produce different toxin, and these toxins include the anatoxin A or the cylindrospermopsin. Anatoxin A actually is a very simple molecule, because you can see here it is actually produced from proline. So this proline is being converted step by step. Ultimately, it will generate the anatoxin A, where the Lemieux-Johnson oxidation is the most important step, which generate the anatoxin A molecule. And this anatoxin A molecule will enter into the host cell, and it will block this is the anatoxin molecule, and coming to its toxicity, it will block the acetylcholine esterase molecule. What is that? Acetylcholine is a neurotransmitter which is actually activating the muscles. But whenever the muscle is starting to contract, at this time the acetylcholine is ultimately getting degraded, and this is done by acetylcholine esterase. So what happens is the acetylcholine esterase is being blocked. So naturally acetylcholine is not getting degraded, as a result of which the muscle is getting overworked. Severe contraction, tremor, all these can lead to death if it is occurring in important organ like the heart of human body. Now sometimes I told you cylindrospermopsin is an important toxin which is entering into the intestine. This cylindrospermopsin can be toxic to liver, can be toxic to intestine. Here what we can see is the Cacco cells, which is a cell line of the large intestine, is being invaded by cylindrospermopsin, as a result of which the cell surface is getting eroded. This is illustrated in this figure, the electron microscopic figure of the intestinal Cacco cells. So this is cylindrospermopsin structure, and this particular molecule is causing 3-level toxicity. On one side, it is blocking the respiration by ultimately blocking the cytochrome P450. It is also binding with the DNA, which is directly impairing the nuclear activity, and at the same time it is blocking the glutathione molecule, which is a very important antioxidant molecule, and as a result of which this will impart liver toxicity. Next important group is the Mycoplasma. Mycoplasma actually is a very small bacterial cell without a specific cell wall. This Mycoplasma may be in the form of Mycoplasma pneumoniae. It will enter through the respiratory tract and it will invade the lung. What we can see in this figure is actually the production of CARDS, that is community acquired respiratory distress syndrome, which is a disease, but it is induced by the Mycoplasma toxin. So it is commonly called the CARDS toxin. And what is there? This CARDS toxin will ultimately eroding the inner lining of the trachea or the bronchus, as a result of which respiratory failure may result. This is very important that each and every molecule should enter through specific receptor. So this is a general slide where I have shown that the plasma membrane is having different types of receptor, and these receptors are receiving different organisms. For example, here you are having specific receptor for SV40, for IAV, for Pseudomonas. What is important here? That the cells are being received at specific point, and then only it is linked to a specific cascade of reaction which will ultimately result in the degradation of the organelle or the degradation of the cell itself. We commonly call it apoptosis. Next important group, which is coming from Actinomycetes. Actinomycetes is a group of organism which is in between bacteria and fungi, and they are filamentous structure, and this Actinomycetes may produce a toxin which is commonly called the tetrodotoxin. This tetrodotoxin again is a secondary metabolite which is produced from alanine. Alanine will combine with the guanidine molecule coming from the arginine, and ultimately it will generate the tetrodotoxin. And mind you, this tetrodotoxin can also be produced from other bacteria other than this particular group. So what do they do? Primarily, there are specific sodium channels. So this particular sodium channel is very important because it is helping in the exchange of sodium potassium ion in the maintenance of ionic potential on both sides of the membrane, which is so important for kidney, which is so important for nerves. But here what happens is the tetrodotoxin is actually blocking the sodium channel, as a result of which there will be excess of ion on one side of the channel. So it is either getting hyperpolarized or getting hypopolarized, as a result of which the membrane is becoming defunct. So the cell will ultimately die, or the transmission of stimuli will never take place. Coming to the next important group, which is the chlamydia. Now chlamydia for many years was considered to be a group of viruses because it is not having any specific cell structure or cell organelle. This chlamydia is also producing toxin. We commonly call it the toxin B, produced from Chlamydia trachomatis. So what happens is, this is the particular Chlamydia trachomatis which is entering into the host cell, and it is getting vacuolated. This is called internalization of the host cell, where the toxin is actually getting released inside the cell. Because of this release of toxin, the toxin can ultimately impart toxicity. And what type of toxicity? It can impart severe toxicity in the uterus, severe toxicity in the membrane of the intestine, and in both the cases there will be damage, severe damage of the membrane, as a result of which there will be some toxic implication which will ultimately result in some allergic reaction. Mind you, if that particular protein is being degraded by the lysosome, this lysosomal degradation will result in some degraded product, and this degraded product is also toxic for the cell. The body will get the message, so they will activate the different lymphocyte molecule, as a result of which these lymphocytes will attack the cell and the cells will die. So massive number of cells dying in a particular place will result in severe allergic or immunogenic reaction, which will ultimately be very bad for the human body, because this allergic reaction can result in gradual increase of body temperature, and the person may show fall or reduction in the activity of the brain, or sometimes the person can pass into coma. So these are the different toxic implications of chlamydia. Coming to the next important group, which is actually a very big group. This group is the group of algae. Algae are basically photosynthetic organisms which can produce their own food because they have their chlorophyll, they can utilize sunlight, and they can definitely generate food for the animal kingdom. So it is actually in the food chain. But what happens is, some of these algae, like the unicellular diatoms, like the unicellular dinoflagellates, they will produce different toxin. And this toxin will be getting into the shellfishes, and this shellfish, whenever it is being consumed by higher organisms, will show toxic implication. One such toxin is the domoic acid. Now this domoic acid is commonly produced by the diatom, which is inducing a toxicity called amnesia shellfish poisoning. Now what is amnesia? Because you can very well understand, it is severe dysfunction of the neural system or the brain. And they normally will come into the human system or animal system through crabs, through shellfish, and this toxic implication is very severe in different parts of North America. What happens is, this particular domoic acid is again a secondary metabolite. It is being produced from a simple amino acid called glutamic acid. But once it is actually produced, it can bind through specific receptor. Here you can see that the domoic acid is binding to NMDA or AMPA receptor, and once the domoic acid is received, there will be the calcium ion efflux. So calcium ion is very important for the activation of the nerve ending or for the activation of the muscles from the nerve ending. So this calcium influx is being blocked, as a result of which this particular muscle tremor will occur. And at the same time, because of too much entry of the calcium on one side, the normal sodium potassium efflux and influx will be impaired. So domoic acid actually can cause impairment of the neural transmission, and at the same time, if the neural membrane is not showing proper polarization or depolarization, naturally the muscular activity will be impaired. And if you can consider this muscular impairment in the trachea, this muscular impairment in the heart, so it will lead to heart and lung failure. Now coming to the next group, which is the polyketides. Now polyketides here is coming from Ciguatera, so we call it the toxin as ciguatotoxin. Now this ciguatoxin or the toxin from Ciguatera is actually not from the shellfish itself. It comes from a particular group of algae called the dinoflagellates. This is commonly called the Ciguatera shellfish poisoning, and primarily the ciguatoxin is the most important molecule. It is shown here, but there may be another group which is called the mitotoxin, and they are actually produced from fatty acid esters. And there may be different species of dinoflagellate which produce this type of toxin, which include the Prorocentrum, the Gambier, and they are all basically benthic dinoflagellates. Benthic meaning they are mostly residing in the lower surface of the sea, in the seabed. But what happens is, because of some disturbance in the seabed, they may be changing their domain or they may change their position, and sometimes with the water current they will be getting into the shore. And this particular condition you can see is commonly called the red tide. So what is there in this red region are those species of dinoflagellate which will produce the ciguatoxin, and the ciguatoxin will get into the shellfishes, and these shellfishes are very much commonly captured by different fishermen, and this shellfish poisoning will take place. Now it has been also proved that ciguatoxin is very active in the different coral reef. So if it is in the coral reef, now coral reef is a unique ecosystem and there are different species of fishes consuming each other. So once it is getting into the particular shellfish and then getting into another fish, gradually this wave increases. And what happens is there will be a biomagnification. In the tertiary consumer, the toxin level is so high that it will be detrimental. So there are two types of toxicity. Primarily, it is affecting the fish, or in other words, it is affecting our food source, and at the same time, it can get into human body and cause toxicity. Now, primarily, I told you this ciguatoxin is lipid soluble, so mitotoxin is water soluble. So if you say that, okay, it is not lipid soluble, it is water soluble, then what is the implication? The water soluble molecule will easily get into your body, will get solubilized inside you, and there will be toxic implication, primarily leading to the same neurotoxicity, that is depolarization of the neural membrane. Now coming to the next important group of toxin, which is a common saxitoxin. Now saxitoxin actually is causing a severe disease called PSP, or paralytic shellfish poisoning. It is produced by, again, some dinoflagellates group of algae like Alexandrium, Gymnodinium, Pyrodinium, etc. This saxitoxin has actually been purified, and this is the same study, or this is the electron microscopic study of the saxitoxin crystal. You can very clearly see that the surface is not smooth. Surface is undulating, and if it is undulating, that means it has the ability to bind with specific membrane receptor. The more it binds, the more will be the toxic implication into the particular host cell membrane. Now this is the structure of the saxitoxin, and this saxitoxin is actually produced from a simple amino acid which is arginine. And as you know, arginine is a semi-essential amino acid which is produced in every living cell or in every living organism. This arginine is gradually getting converted, where you can see the different steps, the condensation, the amidinotransfer, the cyclization, the methylation and epoxidation, ultimately resulting in the production of the saxitoxin. So this is how the pathway is being followed. So there are ultimately, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 major steps, ultimately resulting in the conversion of arginine to saxitoxin. And once it is generated, this saxitoxin becomes so poisonous that it will accumulate in the viscera, it will accumulate in the alimentary canal, or even it can accumulate in the siphon, that is the breathing organ of different molluscan organisms. And they will get into the body of the bigger consumer. The more the toxic level, the more it will be putting the organism the threat of death. And this particular toxin, there has been severe report, like in British Columbia, about 100 people died because of saxitoxin toxicity in 1793. So these are the different toxic implications of saxitoxin, and this particular figure is very nicely showing how this saxitoxin from the dinoflagellate has got into the food chain. So you can see these are the dinoflagellates, and this dinoflagellates is getting into the seabed, will be encysted. It will be remaining there for a long period. You don't understand that they can remain even sometimes for years together, and then ultimately this particular shellfish will feed on these cysts and the toxin will be coming out in the body of the shellfish. Primarily, the shellfish will not die because the vital organs of the shellfish is not being actually affected. But it will be deposited in the body of the shellfish, and when human is consuming, ultimately they can die because of neural failure. Now, what is the toxic implication of the saxitoxin? The toxic implication lies here. These are the specific sodium and calcium channel. What happens is the toxin is blocking both these channels, and because of this, neither sodium nor calcium can get in. So what is important here, in order to maintain the polarization potential, sodium ion must go in. In order to maintain the muscular contractility, calcium must go in. But here it is just a condition where neither of these ions are allowed. So ultimately what happens is the membrane is becoming totally dysfunctional. And so what happens is the neural ending, you can very well see this is the axon bulb and this is the synaptic cleft. So the acetylcholine molecule will not be transmitted. So what happens is it is a typical paralytic condition which will be resulting because of this saxitoxin toxicity coming from the dinoflagellates. So we can very well understand the different toxic implications of algal toxin. These implications are the toxin can be toxic to the different shellfishes, can kill them. So it can also reduce the microbial, the friendly microbes of the sea. So what does it mean? It means that the microbial diversity will be reduced, or the shellfish population will be reduced. At the same time, it will modify the population which can withstand this toxicity will survive. The ones which are very much sensitive will die. So it will modify the population of the seabed. At the same way, it can be generated in the water and it can cause swimmers itch, that is allergic reaction to the swimmers. And the most important thing is it can spread along with the water current from one particular region to other with the red tide. But whenever it is coming to human beings, it will cause death because of the neural impairment, because of the impairment of the nerve ending, and because of the brain failure. So in this particular lecture, which is the introductory lecture of microbial toxin, what we have tried to understand, we have tried to understand the different toxin, the definition of toxin, the different toxic implications of toxin, the toxins produced from archibacteria, from bacteria, from cyanobacteria, from actinomycetes, from chlamydia, and from different groups of algae. We have also considered the different toxic implications brought about by the single toxin or the toxin molecules in combination. So, in the next lecture might be we will be covering the toxin from different other organisms. Thank you.